Izuku woke up like he did every day before the sun rose. And just like every day, he got to play the game of sneaking away from the children clinging to him like a life raft. Today he got to extract himself from the combined hug of Kyoku and Mise. Easy work. Kyoku was a sound sleeper, at least she was when she was with Izuku. By herself she tended to have nightmares, and as such was more easily woken up. Which was also the reason she often slept with Izuku. Mise on the other hand was a bit more difficult. She'd always been jumpy, as one could expect from a person who didn't know who they were and didn't have many people they could trust, but after the attack, she'd be even jumpier than usual. But Izuku could manage. Quietly and very slowly, Izuku moved himself out of their grasp, and stood up, before putting the blanket over the two girls. Izuku did some stretches, before getting dressed. Alright, time to start my day. XXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXX while Izuku made some bacon and eggs. The teen dad looked over at Fuku as she pulled out the finished biscuits from the oven and smiled. "I'm so proud of you. Huh?" Fuku froze, and she nearly dropped the tray of biscuits as her face went as red as a tomato. Where did that come from?" Izuku chuckled and smiled fondly at her. Sorry. It's just, look at you. Back when you first arrived, you refused to even step foot out of your room. And now, you're helping me make breakfast for your friends. I'm really happy seeing you like this." Fuku's face somehow got even redder as she started mumbling incoherently for a while, before eventually spitting out a thank you. Izuku's smile widened. "It's my pleasure. XXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXX his arm while his foot was planted firmly on his back. Izuku was not a combatant, yet despite that, he often found himself in combat somehow. As such, remaining inexperienced and powerless would not stand, at least not for him. Sure, there was Sheena and the fractals, but not only did he not always have the luxury of those methods, but both of them only lasted so long. And so he decided he would spend some of his free time training with Giza. Midoriya, do you know what your main issue is? Not just in fighting but in general? Giza asked him rhetorically. It is that you are far too eager. You lack any sort of patience. That attack was far too unbalanced. Distributing that much of your weight into an attack when you have no guarantee that your blow will even land is simply unwise. You must show more patience and restrain. Especially as your lack of quirk will leave you lacking both defensively and offensively. Izuku sighed. Always his quirklessness. But he was right. I get it. I'm sorry. Do not be sorry. Be better. After this session you and I will be practicing breathing techniques that should aid you in claiming yourself during battle. Giza told him, before getting off of him and helping him to his feet. But now I believe it is time we discuss the matter of your weapon. Another thing Izuku decided was that he needed a weapon, one aside from his quirk-removing gun, because might not always be effective at close range, and he didn't want to have to use it as a first resort. But since he had little experience with combat and weapons, he decided to leave it to Giza to find the best weapon for him. Giza put his hand up his sleeve. I asked the fine people from the laboratory to make this for you. He then pulled out a metal cylinder, covered green grip, and handed it to Izuku, who looked at it confused. And, this is? Izuku looked at it, wondering what kind of weapon this was exactly. Try gripping it as you would a weapon, to be used in battle, Giza told him. Izuku held the thing out, not knowing what might happen, and clenched the grip tightly. Shing! Suddenly the cylinder extended into a long metal bow staff. Bow staff. Izuku relaxed his grip and the pole retreated back into the grip. It's lightweight and easy to move around with. And you'll be able to take it with you anywhere you like. And it's a good tool for mobility and keeping your foes at a distance, two things you should be prioritizing. Giza explained. And it's a weapon that requires patience, good timing, and mastery of weight distribution. All things you need to focus on most. That all sounds great. Izuku looked at the weapon considering what Giza had told him. But how effective is it at causing damage? Not that I'm out to hurt people, but I probably need to at least a little if I'm using it. Here, let me demonstrate. Giza held out his hand, and Izuku gave it to him. Slap. Ow. Izuku cried as Giza slapped him across the face, before taking 2 steps back. What was dash? Bonk. Ack. Izuku fell face first onto the hard metal floor after Giza smacked him across the face with the staff. "Tell me, how much damage do you think that did?" Giza asked him, with a smirk on his face. "Point taken." Izuku groaned as he rubbed his jaw and pulled himself up. "Alright, let's get training then. XXXXXXXXXXXXXXX. Ugh, nothing good is on," Yaba said as she and her sister sat in their room, trying to watch TV. Ji turned off the TV and looked at her more aggressive sister. "So what do you want to do?" "I don't know." Yaba sighed. "Maybe spar with someone. But we've been sparring a lot." Inu protested. "I don't really want to fight anymore." "Knock. Knock. Knock. Come in," said all three girls at once. Izuku entered the room, and after a quick look, he could figure out the situation quickly. "Hey, girls, bored?" "Yup," Ji responded casually. "None of us can figure out what to do." Yaba sighed. "Hey bro, you got any idea?" Izuku started thinking. XXXXXXXXXXXXXXXX. "Yeah," Yaba shouted, as skidded across the water on skies, alongside her three siblings. "This is amazing." The Midoriya siblings were being pulled by a cord they were holding, which was attached to a harness on a cephalon, which was swinging at full speed through one of the larger lakes. "Faster! I want to see how fast it can go." Ji cheered. Inu just giggled as she felt the water splash on her, refreshing her after walking here in the hot sun. "Well, I don't think Youngmi would have thought of this, but this works." Izuku thought, enjoying the ride as adrenaline ran through his veins, and a smile crawled onto his face. XXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXX. Once again, Izuku and the scientific division met in the meeting room for a discussion. "Progress?" Izuku asked simply. "Sir, I've completed the research for Project Intake." Futaba started, handing Izuku a file filled with plans for the machine that would feed Yami negative energy from all over the city. "All that's needed now is to build this machine and we'll be ready to go. That, and also we have to charge all the fractals we'll need." "Well, that might not take as long as you think. Because we're already experimenting with something special," Hada said as he slid Izuku another file. Izuku looked in the file and saw a drawing of what looked like a weird egg. Parts of it seemed fleshy, while others seemed to be made of wood, and its center glowed so brightly it was like looking at a small star, but up close. "And this is? It's the fruits of Project Chaos Control," Mai explained. "The Chaos Engine. An organic chaos battery that'll produce chaos energy more efficiently than any human, plant, or animal, and will allow us to get pure chaos energy without Jin's quirk. It's currently growing, but we should have one ready to use by the end of the month," Achi explained. "Very good. Much faster than expected," Izuku praised. "Soon we'll be able to create that cure-all." Actually sir, there is an issue." Mai then pulled out a vial. "We already did." "Really?" Izuku's eyes went wide, as Mai handed him another file, this one for Project Contamination. After figuring out how to control fractal contamination, Mai's next issue was figuring out how to implement this into a formula. So she experimented a bit, and eventually, she was able to create a new type of fractal, one that would melt after becoming full. Normally not desirable, but that meant she could use that liquid for the formula. However, there is an issue. Mai sighed. The chaos energy from Eri fractal is not as potent as Eri herself. And the energy from a melted fractal is even less powerful. Don't get me wrong, this can already act as a cure for millions of different ailments, including some lower stages of cancer, and would make us a huge amount of income, but it's close to being the cure-all we want to be yet. "I see." Izuku took on a thoughtful expression. "That might not be a terrible thing. If we can make various different cures of different qualities, that means we'll be able to price some of them lower and sell them to people who have lower incomes. It won't fix our problem entirely, but it will help. But I will need you to see if you can increase the potency." "Working on it sir. It's second priority right after the Chaos Engine," Mai responded. "And you said that you could create fractals with specific powers?" Izuku asked. "If that's the case, then there's something I need." XXXXXXXXXXXXXXXX. "Oh, here it comes." Izuku was now sitting on the couch with AKA and Netsu, watching the news showing Blue Blur fighting a villain. Blue Blur had run off, building speed to perform his finishing attack. "Sonic Boom!" shouted Blue Blur, as well as Izuku, aka, and Netsu at home, as Blue Blur drop-kicked into the villain so fast, it created a boom as air exploded from the epicenter. "So cool." Netsu cheered. Amazing. That villain won't be able to eat for days. AKA added gleefully, before turning to Izuku. How did he do that much damage? Oh well, it's simple. Blue Blur's quirk doesn't just let him go fast, it also creates a little protective shield around him while he's running. It doesn't do much against attacks but absorbs all the friction and wind pressure that goes up against him whenever he runs. And he can release all that energy whenever he wants. Letting him do stuff like that. Izuku explained. It's been forever since I did this. Feels better than it used to. How fast can he go? Netsu asked. No one really knows, he keeps it a secret. Izuku shrugged. But we can go faster than sound before, so I can only imagine how fast his top speed is. Amazing! Netsu shouted, getting fired up, literally. Do you think I could go that fast? Izuku gave him a sympathetic, sad smile. Sorry, you might be able to, but your body wouldn't be able to take the wind pressure. Ah. Netsu instantly became less ecstatic, as his fire dimmed slightly. Don't feel too bad, there's lots of stuff you can do that others can't, Izuku reassured him. And you can still go really fast. Not many people can keep up with Kiba in a race. You're right. Thanks, Dad. Netsu instantly perked up. Bet Blue Blur can't set a whole forest on fire. Why yeah. Izuku stuttered, not sure what to say to that. I'm sure he can't, please don't set the forest on fire. XXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXX now in Kiba's room, fixing up her cloak. Sorry caretaker, Kiba said, twiddling her thumbs apologetically. It's fine, seeing your cloak as this tells me how active you've been. And that makes me happy. Izuku assured her. Better to use something than try to keep it in perfect condition forever, and never end up using it. Then it might as well be useless. It wouldn't be useless, Kiba muttered with a pout. And besides, no matter how much it gets tattered and torn, I'll always be here to fix it up, Izuku said as he finished up the repairs, and placed the cloak over Kiba. Always. Suddenly Kiba gained a worried and slightly fearful expression, and Izuku quickly regretted his choice of words, as he knew exactly why she was like this. It's not your fault Kiba, you got sick, there was nothing you could have done, Izuku reassured her, knowing she was still upset about being a liability during the sports festival attack. I could have been more healthy, Kiba argued. You're already being pretty healthy. You even eat your greens, like a good girl. Izuku said, giving her a pat on the head, and a heartwarming smile. You exercise every day, and don't eat too much candy. Sure you spar a lot, but that's not what made you sick. It just happens sometimes. I guess. Kiba sighed, before shaking her head to get herself back in high spirits. Don't worry I mean caretaker, I swear I won't get sick for many more years. Illness will not weaken me. Izuku laughed. I hope you keep that promise. XXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXX Japanese. Hello, Alice. Izuku greeted as he came into the library, holding something behind his back. Mr. Midoriya, Alice greeted in English. Just wanted to check on you. It must have been scary, being attacked like that in a foreign land, after coming here for safety. Izuku said with a sigh. I wish I could have checked up on you sooner, but I was busy. So, are you okay? I'm okay, Mr. Midoriya. It was scary, but Miss Sori was really cool. She beat up the bad guys so fast we couldn't even see her. Alice exclaimed, still remembering how amazing Sori was that day thanks to the Chaos Emerald. Good, good. I'd hate it if you thought Japan was scary after that. Izuku smiled. Also, I got you a gift. Izuku then pulled out a rather strange-looking brown hat, with a fake sakura tree on the top, and roots going down the side. I heard you liked weird hats, so I got you one. Alice gasped. It's perfect. Thank you, Mr. Midoriya. I'll add it to my collection. Great. I'm glad that you like it. Izuku said happily. Remember, if you see any hats you like, or anything else, within reason, just ask me. Okay, Mr. Midoriya, why are you so nice to us? Alice asked innocently. You let me and Mommy live here and get away from the bad men who were after me, and you're always doing nice things for us. I'm really happy, but, why? Izuku smiled down at her and patted her on the head. I just love making people happy. The same way you feel when you get a new hat, I feel when I make people smile. Oh, that's cool. Alice said, looking up at him in amazement. I think so too, Izuku responded happily. XXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXX the sun set behind him. You seem to be in a pretty good mood today, sir, all things considered, Chol noted as she did her own load of paperwork. All things considered, I thought you'd be a bit sourer, considering everything that happened. Well, I can't be negative all the time, it's bad for the kids, Izuku explained. Plus, Amai's candies help. Fair enough, just be careful with those, sir. Chol reminded. I will, thank you for your concern. Izuku praised. Oh, and get ready. The paperwork for the farm is going to be here soon, and there is a lot of it. Paperwork for the what?